Good morning, guys. This is View from the Pastor's Study, View from the Pew. It is August 4, 2021, and we're continuing to look at Luke's commands from Christ. Now, let me remind you why we're doing this. It's because a part of our Great Commission as we go out to disciple the nations is to teach the nations to observe what Christ has commanded us to do. And part of what he's commanded us to do is found in the Gospel of Luke in his specific commands. And we've dealt with explicit, implicit commands. We've dealt with examples. We're walking with Jesus and we're trying to get as much out of him as we can because we love him. We love him. We want to keep his commands. So here's the command today, and it's found in all four Gospels. So to me, when it's found in all four Gospels, I think that really emphasizes the importance of it. Not that any other command isn't important, but it really emphasizes the importance. And it's simply this: you give them something to eat. You give them something to eat. So, listen to what it says from verse 12 through verse 17 of Luke chapter 9. When the day began to wear away, the 12 came to him and said to him, "Send the multitude away, that they may go into the surrounding towns and country, and lodge and get provisions, for we are in a deserted place here." But Jesus said to them, "You give them something to eat." And they said, "We have no more than 5 loaves and 2 fish, unless we go and buy food for all these people." For there were about 5,000 men. Doesn't include women and children. Then he said to his disciples, "Make them sit down in groups of 50. That'd be about 100 groups or more. And they did so and made them all sit down. Then he took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke them and gave them to the disciples to set before the multitude. So they all ate and were filled, and 12 baskets of the leftover fragments were taken up by them. So much to learn in this passage. Let's start with the fact that we never come to Jesus with an idea that he doesn't already know the right answer to. Send them home, Lord. Send them home. We can't feed them. It's getting dark. Jesus says, you give them something to eat. And let's apply it physically and spiritually. Let's apply both. Are there out there in the world those that are hungry? Absolutely. Do we ignore them? Do we send them on their way? Not if the Lord tells you to feed them. And that's really the key. And there is a little bit of scripture that talks about that, about not just letting someone who comes to your door, don't just say God bless you and send them on their way, but you give them a cup of cold water. You give them something in need. But there's also a spiritual aspect to this as well, and it's really driven home in John 6 when Jesus says, "I am the bread of life." See, that's what we're called to do more than anything else, whether somebody has a physical meal or not. We're called to give them the bread of life, which is Jesus Christ. We are his distribution engine to give them something to eat. And that's what he's called us to do. We're not to send them on their way. We're to give them the bread of life. We're to do it in an organized fashion. We're to take what God has given us, and God will multiply it, whether it's physical or spiritual. God will take the bread and he'll make it enough, and I'll get to a little bit more of that, enough for everybody involved. As a matter of fact, I love and I smile at the fact that on verse 17, it says, when everybody had eaten their fill, there were 12 baskets left over. Now, when I think about the 12, I think about the 12 followers of Jesus. I think about the 12 disciples. I think about the fact that maybe I'm wrong in thinking this, but I don't think I am. I think God is saying, look, if you'll obey me in the process of bread delivery, you'll have enough bread for yourself when it's all said and done. There's a spiritual benefit to delivering the bread of life. There's a spiritual benefit to delivering and being generous to others physically as well. But either case, and both, you can't pick one. Don't say, well, I'll do the physical, not the spiritual. I'll do the spiritual, not the physical. Both are important. The spiritual is more important because Jesus is the bread of life, and it is all about Jesus. But it can apply to both those. Jesus' command to us that we are to keep and to tell others is you give them something to eat. and I would tell you, give them the bread of life. So I pray you have a great Wednesday. If you're in our area and you have a young person who's a child, first through sixth grader, I believe we have a party tonight. I'm going back to school party for our kids. So it's going to be about 6:15, 6 o'clock, something like that. Come join us, you and your family. We'd love to have you. And just church family, remember us well. Pass the word on to others. And I pray you have a great Wednesday, and God bless you, and you have a great day.